Good afternoon, everybody. I'm at International Park in East Toledo, and which is just across the river from downtown Toledo. Back there you can see the high-level bridge and the Willis B. Boyer, which is a docked ship that the city runs like tours. And they also have a haunted house at Halloween. I'm not sure if they still have that now, but they did for years. I haven't been down there for Halloween in years. But anyway, point of this video, I'm going to discuss an area called the Docks, which is a real estate project that the city built about 15 or 16, maybe 17 years ago. It was in the mid-90s, and the city spent like $500,000 of taxpayer funds, and then they also sold about $1.66 million worth of bonds to build this project. That's the overflow parking lot. It's dinner time on a Sunday. As you can see, there's nobody in the overflow lot. And over here, the regular parking lot. This place is pretty slow, and the reason why it's slow is that the owner of two of the restaurants here at the Docks closed a week ago. A guy by the name of Tom Kuzno, who was a local entrepreneur who owns a steakhouse in East Toledo. He owned this place here called the Kuzno's Navy Bistro. And he was leasing the property from the city. So the city was, after they built this, they leased the property to different restaurant owners, which I personally don't agree with the city being in the landlord business, but that's what they did. And so Mr. Tom Kuzno, when the economy hit the skids a couple years ago, his restaurant business slowed down, of course. And starting in 2009, he started getting behind on his rent payments. And when he closed last week, he is now $99,000 in arrears and rent payments to the city of Toledo. And he's also more than $60,000 in arrears and payment of sales taxes to the state of Ohio. So he got himself in a little bit of hot water there, because the state of Ohio doesn't really have a sense of humor regarding unpaid sales taxes. So he worked out a deal through the courts. He's got either 2 or 3 years to pay that $60-some thousand in back sales taxes. But he's closed the bistro here. You can see this was more of a summertime venue anyway. And they got a nice patio here, and the riverfronts here, and like boats would come here and dock. The city would put like docks here along the bank. People would come here to eat and have a few drinks, and it was, a pretty festive atmosphere in the summertime, springtime. And there's, as I said, 4 other restaurants down there. Mr. Kuzno also owned the place next to this called Tango's, which was a Mexican restaurant. He closed that when he closed the bistro. And then next to Tango's, there's a place called the Real Seafood Company, Zia's, and then there's a nightclub down there named Metropolis, and I'm not sure if that's still open either. We'll take a look at that when we go through the rest of the parking lot. And that's downtown. That's the Owens Corning headquarters. The hotels of downtown Toledo. That place with the 2 smokestacks is empty. They were going to turn that into condos years ago, and that turned out to be a flop. And that's the former OI building, now known as the Fifth Third Bank building. And that's the Martin Luther King Bridge, formerly known as the Cherry Street Bridge. And down that way is the High Level Bridge, which connects East Toledo to downtown and South Toledo. Over here you've got some volleyball course that's operated by the Parks and Rec in the city. And I think they've changed some of that too. I don't think they sponsor it quite as heavily as they used to. But they still play games, volleyball matches in the summer months. So the city of Toledo basically built this place, and now it's sitting at least 40%. Actually, probably the total square footage is definitely more than half, because the bistro also had a banquet hall. And they just suddenly, before the story broke that he was shutting down, they said that they started refunding some money for people that had reserved like weddings and events here at the banquet hall. So after Mr. Kuzno announced he was closing, the city of Toledo has stated that they have a Chinese firm that's possibly interested in purchasing the property, and they're going to open a Chinese eatery here at Kuzno's. And they haven't announced what kind of price they're going to pay for the building or anything like that, but I want to know what you guys think, because I'm personally in favor of anybody buying this property if they have the money and they're willing to pay a fair market value, especially if they could retire the bond debt with the purchase. I'm not sure if this place is worth $1.66 million, but if it's somewhere near that figure, or certainly if it's over that figure, then I think the city of Toledo should sell this property to whoever wants to buy it. And I want to know what you guys think. Are you guys China-phobics? Do you guys not think it's good for a foreign entity to be buying real estate on the riverfront here in Toledo? I personally don't have a problem with it. Like I said, China is a up-and-coming player in the world economic scene. It's a huge market, and any positive relations that the city of Toledo, who has a heavy manufacturing base, can make with Chinese officials, that's a good thing. So a lot of people here locally have voiced opposition to it, but I'm not one of them. And our mayor here, last year, he took an 11-day trip to China with some local business people, and the reason for that trip was he was over there courting business. And even though I don't think new restaurants are really economic growth, because they just transfer people going to other restaurants over to the new one, but they're also talking about the same Chinese firms being interested in buying some parcels over at the Marina District, which is just across the Cherry and Main Street from the docks here. You can see this place is completely dead, basically. It's dinner time, and you've got, maybe 20 cars in this whole lot. That's counting the people that work here. So there's Tango's, it's closed now. Then there's the Real Seafood Company. And you got Zia's, that's an Italian place. And over here you've got Metropolis, which is a nightclub, which they've shoveled the sidewalk and stuff, so it appears that it's open, but it may only be open on the weekends, and I don't know, it doesn't look like it's very... I was down here a few days ago and the walk hadn't even been shoveled, so I think they're just open on the weekends now. Anyway, for those of you that aren't familiar with Toledo and haven't seen my Marina District videos, go back through some of the archived videos that I have and take a look at that. You'll get a little better understanding of what I'm speaking about here. And I'll drive up to the Marina District entrance and then probably end this video. Unless I have a green light, then I'll drive through it. But I want to know what you guys think. Should or shouldn't the city of Toledo sell this docks property to the Chinese? Or to any Chinese firm or any foreign firm? I personally think they should sell it to whoever has the money to purchase it. That's the Marina District over there, which is Toledo's #1 road to nowhere. Proposed $300 million project a few years ago, and it basically just sits completely empty other than a $5 or $10 million road that they've built there. Well, we got a green light, so we'll make a quick drive through the Marina District and take this video up to 10 minutes. It'd be great if the Chinese firm would buy some of this property over here and actually build something, because the city is in very deep financially with this, and starting in 2012, since the developer Larry Dillon has basically disappeared, the city's going to have to start paying $200,000 every 6 months just to fund, or to start repaying the debt from building this road here. So that's it for this video from the docks in Toledo.